right to peaceful protest.
And I'm peacefully protesting, right? Okay.
I just want to give you some families, okay?
Right.
I don't care about the Supreme Court. I believe in one family.
You affirm the child. You say, that's fine, you're feeling like that. I believe you. What's your pronouns?
I can't join this Pride if I don't sign up to all the TQ bollocks.
We were sandwiched by 2 security people and told that we would be forcibly removed if we didn't go quietly.
Is Pride still a place where gays can call out what we believe to be something that's deeply homophobic?
See you later, mate. Goodbye.
Hi everyone, I'm here reporting on Pride in Surrey, which is in Guildford this year, just like last year. It's a bit controversial because the guy who founded Pride in Surrey and has been running it for, 6 years or so, he has just been jailed for 24 years for raping a 12-year-old boy. There was drugs involved as well. So there have been all kinds of questions about how was that allowed to happen, basically. Apparently various people have raised concerns about him. An MP did so in 2023. Various organizations did so. A couple of lesbians did so. And it was all ignored. But now he's found guilty and he's behind bars, as is one of his ex-partners, who was sentenced to about 4.5 years. But the thing is, his ex-fiancée is still the CEO of Pride in Surrey. Another of Stephen Ireland's ex-partners is apparently head of volunteers or heavily involved with Pride in Surrey, particularly the Pride Hub. So there's a lot of questions about what is going on here. So I'm going to go down and see, is this something that people are aware of? Are they concerned about it at all? Also, what's the general sort of vibe here in Guildford? Now, this is a very different place from, say, London or Manchester or Brighton. It'll be a lot smaller in scale, so I'll have a very just sort of different vibe to it. So it'll be interesting to see. I've also got one of my signs on me, the one that says puberty blockers are anti-gay, and I might get that out at some point. I'll see how it goes. Just go with the flow kind of thing. If you want to support my reporting, then you can do so monthly via Patreon, or if you prefer, give me like a one-off tip via PayPal, or on here via Super Thanks. Okay, let's go. How are you doing? Can I ask you some questions? Oh, look at your face. Oh yeah, you need to get to the start of the parade, right?
I left my tickets at home as well.
This is amazing.
Thank you very much. Take care.
Have a great day. I might see you later.
Bye-bye.
Ciao, ciao. We have a police car and we have a stand here. These are like community offices. No rainbow police cars. And here's the crowd that's getting ready for the parade. This is going to be the start of the parade. It's a small parade. I mean, this is local. This is Guildford. Ooh, man in a skirt and crazy heels. So it's a very different affair, obviously, from when you're in, say, Manchester or London. So small. Oh, there's that girl that I spoke to about J.K. Rowling. When did this phase of yours end?
As soon as she started being transphobic and I realised what a horrible person she was.
Interesting that she's here. I might grab another chat with her. She might scream when she sees me. I'm here with the mayor of Waverley. We're in Guildford and Pride is about to kick off. And I saw your, I want to call it a necklace, but you called it something else, didn't you?
Chain of office.
The chain of office. So can you tell me about why you're here today and what Pride means to you as a mayor?
My name is Penny Rivers and I come from Godalming and I'm the current mayor of Waverley, and I'm very pleased to be here to support the Pride community. I am a Pride ally and it's very important to me to be here today.
Okay, right, I'm a gay man, and this year we had a ruling by the Supreme Court about the meaning of the words man and woman in sex for the purpose of the Equality Act. How do you feel that ruling is relevant to Pride and to the community here today?
I am Jamaican born, and the national motto is out of many, one. Out of many, we are one family. I don't care about the Supreme Court. I believe in one family.
Okay. Do you think the Supreme Court ruling is a good thing for us or a bad thing for us?
No, I don't think it's a good thing for us. I think it speaks to the divisions that we have to live with. And I believe in, as I say, one.
Okay. Now, as I said, I'm a gay man, and I'm very happy with the ruling because in paragraph 204 and 206, it said very explicitly that the rights based on sexual orientation are based on sex. So that's my rights as a homosexual man. Is this something that yet you take a different view on?
Well, I think that I don't fully understand. I'm a old white woman, heterosexual, so I come to all of this late in my life.
Right.
But I just don't believe in division. I don't know what is sex and what is gender, but I do believe in humanity.
I'm with you on that. And when I think back, you know, I'm 50 next year, so, you know, I'm not a spring chicken myself. But when I look at all the gay men and the lesbians that marched back in the 70s for their rights based on sex, here, the way I see it, we have a ruling that says, yes, we still acknowledge this and your rights are protected. Homosexuals have the right to, you know, their own spaces, freedom of expression, freedom of assembly based on sex. We're allowed to exclude people with the protected characteristic of gender reassignment if they're not the same sex, right? Because, I mean, there's a whole lot to get your head around with all the sex gender stuff. And I'm now being told that females can be male homosexuals, and I find that very offensive, to be honest, because it kind of destroys the meaning of homosexuality.
I don't see that, I'm afraid. I think that for my feelings about trans people, they are a tiny minority. And one of my favourite books is To Kill a Mockingbird, and I think they're like we are taking the wings off mockingbirds. They are the ones who need our protection and our love and our support.
There's children about. Proud to be Surrey, that's the university. Right. Oh my God. Here we have respect on the banner. Sponsored by Guildford and Waverley Unison. Oh, there's another person with a very official chain of office. Good morning.
Good morning. Hi there.
Is that your chain of office?
That is my chain of office, yeah, Mayor of Guildford. So,
Mayor of Guildford. Could I ask you some questions? I'm covering different Pride events in the UK. I'm a gay man myself.
Yeah, yeah.
Right, okay. I always think it's nice to ask. So.
We're about to set off those.
I'll be very quick. Right, I found myself another mayor. There's lots of mayors here with fancy, oh God, I keep forgetting the name. The chain of office.
That's right, chain of office, so.
And you're the Mayor of Guildford?
I'm the Mayor of Guildford, yeah. So yeah, really great pleasure to be here today, and we're looking forward to it. It's a great honour that we had Pride here last year and now it's come back to Guildford, so that's great for Guildford, and I'm really looking forward to the day here. Excellent.
Now, one thing that's changed since Pride here last year is the founder and the previous director. You know the story, right? Stephen Ireland.
Yeah, I don't really want to get into this. This is a day about the march today and enjoying the day. So yeah, really looking forward to that.
Okay.
Thanks very much. Thank you.
Well, one more question. In terms of the Supreme Court ruling that we had earlier this year, as a gay man, I really appreciate the ruling.
Right, we need to start.
But here I'm scared to talk about it, right? Okay, all right, ciao. Right, that was the private security force with the rainbow-coloured, I don't know what you call them, vests. I had a chat with them earlier and they were really standoffish, unfriendly. I don't know why, I just asked them if they were police or not because I saw those rainbow lapel things and they said they were private security, so I wasn't even filming. But yeah, they were just giving me evils. But we'll be seeing more of this guy later as he tried to stop me from protesting on the high street. But we actually ended up having a really interesting chat later on in the park.
These ones just don't do that.
There we have Charlie Watts in the event team. I don't know what you call that, singlet, whatever. So he was the ex-fiance of Stephen Ireland. He's now the CEO of Pride in Surrey. And there's someone wearing Stephen's favourite outfit. Parade's about to kick off, so I don't think it's a good time now to speak to more people. But as you can see, there's a child right at the front. There's trans flag. There we go. There they go. Well, this is very different from Manchester and London. That's the loudest. The whistling is the loudest noise I've heard so far. No thumping music. Turfs in the bin. Show me your sign. Come on. Trans people belong in sport. The co-op, all right, a big flag for the co-op. Last year I posted about services for double mastectomies being advertised on a notice board at a co-op in Brighton. There's a hospice. Protect our transgender and non-binary youth. And that's it. And a man selling merch, of course. Wow. And that was the end. This is so different from Manchester. So all they're going to do now is walk up the high street. And I say walk up the high street, and I mean that literally, because it's quite a steep slope upwards. Apparently it's a much smaller crowd than last year. Now, because it's a small parade, we're just taking another route to get onto the high street and get right at the front of the parade. And then I'm going to get my sign out. I've got my puberty blockers or anti-gay sign out. So let's do it. I'm going to have to run. I'm going to switch this off, otherwise I'm going to drop the camera.
Stop transing away the gay! Stop transing away the gay! Puberty blockers are homophobic! Stop transing away the gay! Thank you, NHS! Thank you, West Streeting! Thank you, Hillary Cass! Puberty blockers are anti-gay! Gay people have every right to call out homophobia at Pride. Gay people have every right to call out transing away the gay. Gay people have every right to call out medical gay conversion. Gay people have every right to call out medical gay conversion.
Listen, you've got a right to peaceful protest.
And I'm peacefully protesting, right? Okay.
I just want to give you some ground rules, okay?
Right.
Right to peaceful protest.
Sorry, I can't hear.
Right to peaceful protest.
Yeah.
No criminal offences being committed.
No what, sorry?
Criminal offences.
Right.
No hate crime.
What's the hate crime about calling out homophobia?
I'm not saying you're committing them. I'm just giving you some ground rules.
Stop transing away the gay.
I'm just giving you some ground rules.
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay. Also,
yeah.
Let's let them progress.
I'm
and
letting.
you can also do your peaceful protest. Understood?
Right. So I can continue as I am.
You can at the moment.
All right.
I'm just giving you some ground rules. Okay.
That's good. I appreciate it.
That's fine.
I'm not here to
cause
like
we've got to
aggravation.
Work together. You let them do theirs.
Yeah, I think they're changing route
do
now.
Yours, okay? No,
okay.
this is all the intent.
Oh, good. All right.
Okay.
Thank you. Stop transing away the gay. Stop transing away the gay. Stop transing away the gay. I'm a gay man. I have every right to call out medical gay conversion. Do you support medical gay conversion? Do you want to drug children out of puberty, most of them who would grow up to be gay, lesbian, or bisexual? You're in a public place. You're in a public place, and you came to talk to me. Stop transing away the gay. Does the co-op support medical gay conversion? I'm peaceful.
What I don't want is a breach of the peace.
What's the breach of the peace about me holding up a sign?
So I'm just literally explaining to you, all right? I just need you to understand where the limitation is, okay?
Where is the limit? Am I shouting too loud?
Okay. No. I just want you to keep your distance from them, and then that's fine. So you can put your point across by being here, but you get too close, and then I'm going to suspect there might be a breach of the peace, all right?
If I get too close.
So I'm allowing you.
Thank you.
I'm facilitating you having peaceful protest.
Yeah.
But I just need, as I said, there's some boundaries that need to be in place, okay? So
Okay.
you don't have a breach of peace. I'm just giving you some warnings.
I don't want to breach the peace.
No, that's
I
fine.
just want to say my piece.
That's fine. And look, I'm facilitating that for you, okay?
Yeah. Thank you. Right, that's the end of it already. You can hear from some of the response on the street that if I literally say, stop transing away the gay, and this is medical gay conversion, that people roll their eyes, like this woman just in front of me now, or people go, boo, boo, boo. Maybe they support medical gay conversion. I don't know. Oh, and now she's giving me the middle finger. Lovely.
And then I had a bit more of a chat with this police officer. He was fine, he just didn't want things to escalate. He was also looking out for my safety. And then he asked me for my number. Not for those reasons, just for record keeping. So I said, tempting, but no. I have to say this is a beautiful setting for a parade. And obviously we can see from here that in Guildford, it's Pride o'clock. This is quite a historic high street. Lots of very, very oldie buildings. It's gorgeous, actually. Okay, so the parade went through here. There's the other side. But one thing that some of the locals said is it's smaller than last year, and there's hardly any sort of pride flags in shops. So its grip on the town might be waning.
Brilliant. Thanks.
Have a good day, guys. Take care. See you later.
Hello.
Bye.
Could I have I'm covering Pride in Guildford today.
Yeah, sure. Who are
Could
you
I-
covering it for?
Just for myself.
Oh, for yourself, okay.
I'm a gay man.
Yep.
And I first went to Pride in 97.
Oh my gosh. Yes.
So I just thought,
I've got one of these left. Will you wear it? By the way, you've got a label on your hat.
I've got a label on my hat. Oh,
Yeah.
that's not cool, is it?
Well, you look
Really
like you just
not
bought
cool.
It, really. Oh, you did. I just bought that because it's so much hotter than I was expecting.
Do you know, I'm not from,
You're just you.
I'm Dutch.
You're Dutch. Yes.
Right, let me just face that your way.
Hello.
There you are. I'm going to be doing a bit of
Yeah,
this.
that's
It might
right.
look a
Yeah,
bit
these
awkward,
things,
but...
they always think they look like makeup brushes, and I've seen people on TikTok using them. I think, what's that? Oh, because it's a mic.
No, I need to get one of those. There's like a stick that I can put this on, and then
Oh, yes, I know.
it looks a bit more professional. But
I know what you
anyway.
mean.
So, hi, happy Pride.
Happy Pride to you too.
What brought you out today?
Well, I live 10 miles away in Farnham, and I'm a priest there. And I think it's really important to show the inclusivity of Pride and how much we're all beloved in God's eyes, whatever we are, whoever we are, whether we're gay, straight, trans, cis, whoever. I'm bi myself, and I just think I want to celebrate with and support my siblings and nibblings who are.
Nibblings. I haven't heard that one before.
All right, actually nephews and nieces who might be trans, non-binary, whatever.
Right.
Yeah, yes.
Okay, and obviously you've got your "You Will Have to Go Through Me" shirt. I think I saw David Tennant wear that, the Doctor Who actor.
Cool. Yes, yeah. Actually, I might have seen him doing that. Yes, very cool. Yeah, I've been very pleased the way there are certain celebrities who are standing up for a really marginalised group. I'm afraid, particularly trans people are very vulnerable these days. They are subject to political attacks all the time, and the way that the Supreme Court decided on what a woman was shocking, because actually they're not scientists. Biology is far more complicated than XX and XY, meaning, you're male or female or male or whatever. It's far more complicated. So, it's all fun here. Yeah.
Maybe they identify as a dog.
Maybe they do, yeah. So, but I really want to stand with my, trans friends, and my best friend's son is trans. And
How old are they?
He is 22 now.
Okay.
Yes.
And did they kind of go through the whole medical process?
Not yet. No. I don't know whether that will be the case, but has been, the trans has been a journey but actually a really good journey. I think came out as trans at 17, I think. But actually tomorrow in church we've got Pride services, and I'll be talking to his mother. He didn't want to do the thing, but talking about, what it is to be trans and in the sight of God, who created a beautiful being.
Now that to me is a very interesting question.
Yeah.
So, God and trans and God, we're all God's children kind of thing.
Yeah.
So what's the message of trans, do you think, from a religious point of view?
I have to say transgender is nothing that's ever mentioned in the Bible about it. But my sense of God is that God is this most amazingly, wonderfully generous and loving being. I don't know, you call God a being. That's very anthropomorphizing that. But when we look at Jesus, who, portrays God, this is what God is like. Jesus always on the side of the marginalised, the ones unacceptable in society. And I'm pretty certain that Jesus is there among all the trans people, the gay people. I believe God is in every single one of us, which actually means God's in my enemies too, and the ones I don't like, which is always really challenging. And when, someone comes at me with a, very transphobic comment or something, I have to know God actually loves that person, to God's in them. That's a really big challenge. But God, I really believe that, diversity, isn't it amazing? All these wonderful, creative, beautiful people. And my best friend's son, I've known him from a baby, and he's the same person. He's just expressing who he really is. And also, gender is a social construct. We've decided what's a male and what's a female. It doesn't actually link all that much. Well, links to an extent with sex, but not entirely by any means.
Yeah. Now, the relationship between the gays specifically and the church hasn't always been an easy one.
No, not at all.
So on the one hand, it's good to me to hear that now it's inclusive of that. But in terms of the trans side of things, trans and sexual orientation are completely different things. And I've had friends who've gone, through the whole medical process and supported them through that. But a phrase that we often hear is, born in the wrong body. Is that something that kind of fits with, God is perfect and God makes no mistakes?
Well, I think that people, I don't think God went, I'm going to create that person in that body, and then actually that's wrong. Or I'm not going to create this disabled, someone who's got a disability that you might say is not perfect. But actually, these things happen. Someone might be born with something really quite difficult and, to live with. I'm not comparing trans with disability at all. But I'm saying, people are born in all sorts of different ways that are not what we would go, is that's the norm type of thing. And that's fine. They are still beloved by God. I suppose I think things just happen. People are born as they are, and God just loves them anyway. It doesn't, I don't think God goes, right, make that one in a female body, but actually they're trans. I don't think that happens. I think people are just born and they are beloved anyway. So,
right.
Yeah.
As a child, I always really struggled with fitting in with these expectations around gender. I was a very girly boy.
Yeah.
as a teenager, they would always joke, oh, I was quite pretty when I was young.
You've got delicate features, though, haven't you?
Yeah, and that sort of runs on one side of my family. But and I've got a twin sister who's a real tomboy.
Okay.
Right, so people used to joke, oh, they swapped you around in the womb, right?
Yeah.
And on the one that, you giggle, I sort of giggle, but it still shows they have these expectations. Oh, something went wrong, there's something wrong with you. And I do worry that today, if we were, say, 12 today, we might go, we're trans, but maybe not for the right reason.
Okay.
I'm concerned about that, especially when you're talking about puberty blockers.
Yeah.
Because that leads to sterilization. And we know from the Tavistock that most of these children, they end up being gay if they go through puberty.
Yeah.
So I wonder, is there a conflict here between affirming children as trans and that potentially, I'm going to sound a bit blunt, being a form of medical gay conversion? That's a big one.
Okay,
but
that is big.
As a gay man, that's very serious to me.
Yeah, no,
and just to add one more thing into that, there is an endocrinologist or a hormone specialist, one of the leading ones in the world, called Achim Wusthoff. He's German. And he worked with Kim Petras, who's now a Grammy Award-winning singer, right? And the youngest person in Germany ever to have surgery down there at 16.
Yes,
that's very young.
Yeah.
And he wrote a paper in 2018 acknowledging that most of these kids will just grow up to be gay. He said, he acknowledges that, I'm sort of paraphrasing, but trying to keep it as close as possible. This intervention with nature, and that was him talking about the puberty blockers, may well prevent a homosexual development. So it's a leading endocrinologist saying it. And then he said, but I'm happy to take the risk. And I thought, but you're not the one taking the risk.
Yeah, the child is. No, I mean, I wish my best friend were here because she would be able to talk more knowledgeably about that side of things. I mean, it's here, it takes a long time to get puberty blockers, massively long waiting lists. I mean, I'm sure you can get stuff off the web, but not actually, prescribed by a doctor, which is not...
Well, it's been banned now, hasn't it?
Yeah, well, no one should be doing that. But I think the worry here, it has been very carefully monitored, and you can't get anything major under 18 here. Absolutely can't. I mean, that's not legally anyway.
There's a clinic in Brighton or a practice called Well-Being, I think, Well-Being or Well-Being, and there's a doctor there who. I think it was also revealed a few weeks ago, has prescribed testosterone to even 13-year-olds, females, girls, who think that they're boys.
Yes. Right? I mean, my understanding, because I've known some kids who've thought, I feel maybe I'm male and or female or whatever, and then have stopped and said, no, actually, I'm happy with who I am. So, I mean, I think that you have to be careful, but always think you affirm the child. You say, that's fine, you're feeling like that, let's just see how it goes. And I mean, if more of us were affirming to our children who are maybe saying, I'm not sure whether I'm trans or not, I don't know, or I think I am, you go, okay, let's go with it, let's see what happens, that's fine, I believe you, what you've been called, what's your pronouns, and then let them get through puberty and see how, if we weren't so damning of it all, maybe we'd all be it'd be easier, it'd just be a normal process, and some would remain trans and some wouldn't.
This is where I think, when earlier you mentioned gender as a social construct.
Yes, it is. Really.
I see it the same way.
Yeah.
And I wonder if that construct was less rigid, if boys were allowed to be girly, and if girls were allowed to be tomboyish without being shamed for it, then maybe a lot less people would want to sort of jump ship.
Yeah, I think that's really reasonable, actually. If we could just relax with people a bit and say, let's go, let's see what happens, then people wouldn't be so anxious about it. And then, like with my friend's son, went through, the process of, I'm lesbian, or I'm non-binary. Actually, I'm trans, and that's fine. But it was a slow process over a number of years, and it's been really straightforward. I mean, nothing straightforward, obviously, but there's always some people out there who are going to be unpleasant and unwelcoming, but generally it's been quite a good, straightforward process. And the family's been, okay, we'll just go with it. Now, if more families were like that, wouldn't that be brilliant,
I really appreciate you taking so much time.
Right.
There's one more question, if that's okay.
Yeah.
So I'm from the Netherlands.
Yeah.
And in the Netherlands, that's where they came up with the whole idea of if a child is distressed, then you can block their puberty.
Yeah.
I don't necessarily think that's our finest export.
Okay, yes.
But a friend of mine from the Netherlands, he has a son who got bullied relentlessly. He's on the autism spectrum. He's just a bit of, an odd one.
Yeah.
Doesn't fit in with the crowd. Socially, he's awkward. And then he, for a while, thought, I'm a girl.
Yeah.
And he tried that for, I think, 2 years. So he grew his hair out. Got a girl's name, girl pronouns. And then, I think it was 2 years after, he decided, I'm going to go back to a boy.
Yeah.
And then he cut his hair short.
Okay.
And I was like, but he could still have long hair?
Yeah, yes.
Right?
That's the social construct, isn't it?
That's the social construct.
Yeah, I mean, have you got?
I've got it's down to my shoulder blades.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
But I haven't conditioned it yet, so I haven't got it down. And there was one thing that he said to me, because I asked him, as a dad, this must be very hard for you.
Yeah.
And he said, you're the first person who's actually raised that, right?
Yeah.
And I said, what do you think makes your son feel like this?
Yeah.
And he said, well, he feels like a girl.
Yeah.
And then I said something.
Yeah.
Because earlier you said, you feel this way, you feel that way. But girl is not a feeling.
No.
And boy is not a feeling. No. And I think now we're in a place where people think it's a feeling, and then they're like, I feel this way, therefore I must change. Whereas the hard-learned lesson for me in life, I only learned it in my early 40s, was they're not feelings. So embrace your sex and give gender the middle finger. Whereas I think with trans, it's kind of embracing gender and then trying to fit in with that straitjacket. And that's what worries me, especially considering so many of these kids are probably struggling with internalized homophobia. As only one factor, right? There's a lot that comes into it.
Yeah, I mean, there may be some. I mean, I know that there are young people who felt from very, very early on, I just don't fit this body. This isn't what I feel I am. And there are ones who come to that later, and there are ones who are just, I don't know, I'm in the middle. I mean, I think gender is this spectrum as well. Well, gender, I mean, it is a social construct, but, how we feel about ourselves can be all sorts of things. I kind of wander around in the middle, really. I don't feel comfortable in very traditionally girly stuff. I feel...
And you shouldn't have to.
No, exactly. So I'm not, I'm not worried by it. But, I mean, I think we just listen to a child. We go with what that child's feeling and say, let's walk with you along this.
So let the child lead the way.
Let the child lead the way. And then there is, I think most puberty blockers, my understanding is that they can be reversed, but I don't know enough about that side of it.
I've looked into it quite a lot over the last couple of years, and there's multiple, they're called systemic evidence reviews, and that means that they're looking at as many studies as they can find and look at it all together and okay, what's the gist of it all? And it really depends how long you're on them for. My friend's son, even though he went back to a boy, he did go on the blockers because they said it just gives him time to think. But one problem is that the puberty blockers also stop the brain development. And particular at that age, it stops the very part of the brain that helps you to become independent, to become more clear thinking. So there is concern from guys like myself, does it actually lock them into their distress? But it's a lot to get your head around. It's a lot that we need to look into. I really appreciate you taking all this time.
That's all right. I just think we need to be a little bit more tolerant of people and a little bit more humble.
Oh, and here goes another child wearing the progress flag as some kind of superhero cape.
you know, we don't know everything. And that's one of the things that gets me when people say, oh, it's definitely this, definitely that. No, be a little more humble. Listen to the experience of other people. Listen to what they have to say. And yeah, anyway.
Okay. What's your favourite scripture? If you have one.
Right, okay.
Or one that you find very inspiring.
Okay. Love God with all your heart, all your soul, and love your neighbour as yourself. On this stands all the law and the prophets.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And have a good day.
And you too.
I really appreciate you taking so much time. That doesn't happen often. Right, and here outside the church on the high street, they also have signs that say, ooh, where are we? Christians at Pride. Apparently you can get a cup of tea or coffee here. They've got the Progress flag all around it. There goes our priest. I really appreciate that conversation. But there were things where I'm like, on the one hand you're saying, on the one hand she's saying, you know, kids need time to figure stuff out, and on the other hand she's like, you need to affirm them straight away. That doesn't make any sense, but she really doesn't seem like a bad person or an awful person at all. And I think that's what we get with so many of these people that support it. They don't know what they're supporting. They don't know. It's like that mayor. She just stood there and said, I don't know about this and that. I'm old, is her excuse. This one also goes, oh, I don't know. It's complicated. I'm not a scientist, but I will affirm it. It's like people, like when we talked about puberty blockers, we spoke a bit longer actually after I stopped filming. And she's like, oh, they're saying it's reversible. And I'm like, it's not. And she's like, well, you see, I don't know. And I'm like, well, there are many studies now around the world, systemic evidence reviews. She'd never heard of a systemic evidence review that show it's not reversible. And yet she's like, affirm, affirm, affirm. Anyways, she wanted my details. She wanted to have more of a chat, but I've taken her. So who knows? Might be off to church to work on the church. Here's one of the few shops that has a Progress flag. Here's one of the local real estate agents, Hamptons, celebrating Pride with Pride. Yay! You're a big one. See, it was just that one, and then Ryman's round the corner, so I haven't really seen that many Progress flags. Such a lovely day.
Yeah, it's really tight down.
Like it's so easy to get away from Pride, to be honest. It's wonderful.
Yeah, that is worth it.
Doggy. Oh, he wants to be on camera. That's hilarious.
So cute.
I just got to the park, so party's happening behind me, and it's fenced off. You need to pay to get in. But somebody actually gave me a wristband, so I don't know. I could get in for free if they let me, because obviously they'll know my face by now. So I probably won't get in. I don't even know if I want to get in. But anyways, this has to be the best Pride I've been to this year. Because it was over like in 15 minutes. It was over before you knew it. And it wasn't loud. It was just kind of like really, you know, calm, chilled out. I mean, plenty of crazy, of course. Ooh, wind. Ah, oh, that is good. And the sun's out. And look at this beautiful place. This is like a Stoke Park. Gorgeous old trees. So I'm gonna find my way to the entrance and then meet some other people there, and then I don't know if I'll go in or not. I don't know if I can be bothered, but just want to catch up with the people here that I know. So this is where it's happening. Feels very calm and sort of low key. They got a singer on, singing some gentle music. So I'm just gonna follow the fence and find the entrance. They won't let me in, but that's fine. I just want to meet the people that I know. Oh, another beautiful tree. I love trees. Look at that. Gorgeous. Dogs in the park. Hello, gorgeous. Right, you got a bunch of flags. What does it say on that one? Born this way, and yet put me on drugs and give me surgeries to be my true self. Here we've got the non-binary flag. And then we get this sort of monstrosity. This is the ally flag. And particularly, I think, allies to the whole trans thing. Then we get the progress flag. We've got the trans flag in the distance and the lesbian flag. Well, here's a new one. I've not seen this one before. So this combines the trans flag with the non-binary heart. And here we've got one. I don't even think I've ever seen this one. Or that one. What's that one? Kind of pinkish, green and blue. And then another one, there's flags for everything. What do they mean? I think most people don't even care. Actually, is there any old school rainbow flag? Nope. Okay, this is the entrance. Another very young child. She said that flag is really beautiful. I don't know which one she meant. Everyone is welcome here. I don't think that's true, but it's a nice idea. Right, so I'm here with Maria, a Surrey resident and seasoned lesbian.
Yes, I am indeed. Been marching my socks off since the 80s.
Since the 80s? When was the first time you went?
First march I went on, I think, was 1986, Jubilee Gardens.
Okay.
And happy to say I went with Derek Jarman and Tilda Swinton.
Wow.
I know, it's pretty...
And look at them now.
I know, look at them now, and look at me here in Surrey at Stoke Park.
So we're just outside the party, and there's the main entrance, and you tried to get in, and they basically said, "No way,
no way." So, I mean, obviously, this is the first time we've met. So
yeah, we've never met.
We've never met until this morning. So I obviously have been very concerned about the march. I actually went to the very first planning meeting of Pride in Surrey, and I went to the first planning meeting, got the measure of some of the things, and I didn't go back. I've obviously watched it happen every year. And
sorry, when you said the first planning meeting, what year was that?
2019.
Okay.
2018.
Yep.
And the first march was 2019. I never attended any of the marches. I didn't really like the messages that they were putting out, and I did get a very strong sense that this was a vehicle for Stephen to become some kind of celebrity. I didn't really get a good feeling about that. So, well, I mean, when the news broke of the charges, obviously I was shocked, but there was a little part of me that wasn't surprised. There was something that wasn't quite right, and my wife felt the same. But this year, I feel very, very strongly that this should not have gone ahead out of respect for that 12-year-old boy. I think I think it's slightly indecent, and of course, it doesn't represent us. And I say us, you as a homosexual man, and me as a lesbian. I can't join this pride if I don't sign up to all the TQ bollocks and everything.
And earlier, I got jeered and booed and hissed and got the middle finger for saying, stop gay medical conversion.
It is gay medical conversion. It's appalling what's been happening, and it's erasure of gay people. You know, we should be, you know, the difference, there's too many people who don't know the difference between sexuality and gender rubbish that's going on. And there are too many young people now being forced into medical pathways when they could grow up healthy, happy gay people. And that's what we fought for. And every year this is being undone all the time. I mean, I really take offence at the way it's become hypersexualised, that we want to normalise fetish and kink. The only leather we had when we were marching were our Doc Martens, and now it's everywhere, you know. And I don't think it's family friendly when families being ignorant taking their children to say, go and stroke the puppy that's a leather-clad fetish person. I find it abhorrent, but I find it really funny that, you know, I walked up to the entrance today and opened my bag, and I was trying to hide some of the LGB Alliance leaflets, and I don't disguise them, they didn't spot them. But somebody obviously spotted me because I was filming you, which you very bravely stood in front of the march and with your protest. And because I filmed it, they said I was part of the protest. And I said,
yeah, well, Pride is a protest.
Pride is a protest. So I said I was only filming, and they said, no, you're part of it. And as I can see now, there was one security person who was quite frighteningly covered in every tattoo possible, and I've got nothing against tattoos, but very intimidating. Now there are 3 people standing there watching me until I remove my being from this area. So that's a little intimidating, it's a little over the top, and I do find it really offensive.
And also there's a sign right there that I just filmed saying everyone is welcome, but you're not welcome because you filmed me.
I'm not welcome because I filmed you.
You didn't say a word, you didn't make a peep.
I didn't say anything. The only chat that I've had with somebody today, 2 police officers, and I asked if the Pride was relatively smaller than it was last year, and they were telling me it is extremely smaller than last year. And at that point, a chap walked past with a BDSM flag and a pup paw.
I never saw any of those.
Yeah, and I just said to the police officer, I said, I'm sorry, I find that offensive. And they didn't know what it meant, so I explained, and they said, oh, I get your point. That's my wife.
Maria wasn't allowed to get in just because she filmed me, and then somebody else that was with us as well, she wasn't allowed to get in. I'm not even going to try to get in, I'm just going to go up to them and have a chat. Because if they're being told not to let me in, then I just want to know why. What are the reasons? How do they explain themselves? Because Pride is a protest, as they always say. I was there to protest. And if they think that my protest was somehow anti-Pride in Surrey, then that's really odd. Because then they're saying that my message is somehow anti-Pride, right? Standing up for the gays is somehow anti-Pride. How sad is that? Right, this is the exit. That funfair probably only gets started later on. Here we go. Oh, those are the security guys from earlier. There we go. Everyone is welcome. Oh, I can see a bunch of furries in the distance. And someone dressed as a computer, that's funny. Anyways, I'm gonna have a chat with these guys. Hello. I'm good. I'm just wondering, there's a big sign that says everyone is welcome. I wonder if I would be welcome here as well.
Unfortunately not, I'm afraid.
And what's the reason for that? I won't try to get in, but I'll just try to understand the...
Interviews, mate.
You're not...
No, I'm not doing it.
You're denying me access, but you're not telling me why?
Yeah. See you later.
And who's told you to do that?
I make the decision. I make the decision.
You just made the decision right here, right now?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And what do you base that on?
See you later, mate.
We're just waiting for someone. Okay.
Right, you Mr. D. Knight?
Yeah. Can you read, yeah?
I can read, yeah. Yeah, Security Industry Authority, I can read.
See you later, mate.
So, why can't you say why I'm not allowed in?
Bye.
Okay. Well, happy Pride, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah. Are you a gay man?
Goodbye.
Goodbye?
Yeah.
Right. Well, I'm just going to hang out here for a while.
Yeah. If you start affecting everyone else here, though, then...
What do you mean by affecting?
Well, because most people don't like being recorded or with a microphone in their face.
Right, well, I'm just pointing at the grass.
Yeah, that's fine. But you've got a microphone, and some people might be offended by that.
All right, well...
So if that's the case, then I'll ask you to move on.
Okay.
If not, it'll be a public order.
And you don't want to be on camera? Yourself? Okay, well, I'm filming the grass
if you
now.
carry on, then it'll be a public order offence and the police get involved.
What? Filming the flags?
Yeah.
There's...
Because you've got a microphone and there's general members of the public here.
Yeah. Well, I'm just talking to you, and you're not a member of the public, right? Because you're working.
Yeah. No.
All right.
I'm not talking to you.
Okay.
And I said if you carry on, then the police.
Well, I'm filming a progress flag.
Okay.
Is that a breach of the peace? I'm filming the Trans Ally flag, the Born This Way flag.
You've got a microphone. So
I do, because I'm recording myself, and now I'm switching the camera. To myself. Don't engage with a scary gay man. Yeah.
No, we don't engage with someone that's causing a problem. You're causing a problem.
What is the problem I'm causing? Just standing here and filming myself? I'm not filming you, I'm filming myself.
You can film yourself all you like.
Well, great, thank you. Yeah, I don't need your permission for that.
Okay, so now I'm talking to the man who earlier on tried to push me up the high street.
Right, okay, no need to be smart about it.
Well,
okay.
that's what I'm getting from your friend here.
All I've said is you can film all you like. You're in a public place, okay? But what you're doing is harassing people.
Who am I harassing?
Listen, let me finish.
No, but you just made a claim.
Yeah. You said your bit on the parade. I'm saying my bit now. You were harassing people on the parade. You've been harassing people down here. And what you're trying to do is trying to get people to say things out of turn. You are. You've got an agenda, and that's what you're trying to focus on.
My agenda is to call out what I believe to be a deeply homophobic practice. I'm doing that at Pride. And one of the things that I want to... hold on, because I'll let you speak, you know.
Yeah, all right, fair enough.
I'm not here to cause aggro. But Pride is a protest.
Yep.
And to me, there's things that particularly gays and lesbians have to speak out about.
Yep.
Pride should be the perfect place for that. So one of the reasons I'm here is to see, is Pride still a place where gays can call out what we believe to be something that's deeply homophobic?
What do you think is deeply homophobic?
Well, there's a couple of things. But a big thing that I talked about...
That as a gay man, you calling out your...
Sorry. I mean, you don't mind being interviewed, right?
You're not interviewing me. I'm happy to have a conversation, but I'm not going to call it an interview.
Sure.
Don't you think the community has enough problems with general members of the public, let alone a member of their own community going against them? Don't you think that's a problem?
Well, what worries me is that you think that I go against the community by calling out what I believe to be deeply homophobic practices, because it should be something that the community would want to address. That's why I'm here. And you ask me what you think is homophobic. There's a couple of things.
Okay.
So one of the things is transitioning children.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I'll just, in a nutshell, right? I'm not here to have very long debates or get, smart or whatever. So if you started off on the wrong foot, then apologize. I wasn't even planning to crash the parade, if you like. It just came up in the moment. But we know that most of these kids that traditionally have had these, issues, this distress around gender and sex, they grow up to be gay. And that's been acknowledged by all the leading sexologists, even endocrinologists. But now we're at a time and place where most of these children get affirmed. We know from the Tavistock GIDS clinic that in one particular year, up to 80 and 90% of these kids were same-sex attracted. So when you put them on the blockers, I and many others see that as a form of medically transing away the gay. And that's why I said stop medical gay conversion. So that's my message. And it's something that, for some reason, within this community, it's very hard to talk about. So I don't do this for fun, right? I'm just trying to get this message in somehow, because others are listening. Why is it my very own community that is not open to this? It matters to me a lot.
Okay, and that's fair enough. You're allowed to have. Do you think there's a better way of doing it? Do you think there's a better way of reaching out?
I've tried. I'm not a particularly confrontational person. I don't like confrontations. I've been at events where people are protesting the gays.
Yeah.
That's why I make sure I don't shout abuse at anyone. But I would have never been given permission to be on the parade just to hold up my sign that says puberty blockers are anti-gay, right? So I'm sort of resorting to this, not because I want 1 million views, but at the same time I have to record it. I have to record what's happening, and I have to have the receipts. So what I take away from today is, and I'm not bothered if you don't want to let me in. I'm not here to argue that. I just want to know why, what's the reason, instead of just, oh, shut up, fuck off. Because then that gives me the message that as a gay man, you're not allowed to voice your concerns unless you align with the majority. And I'm not a sheep. I'm a gay man, but I'm not a sheep.
No, and that's fair enough. And like I said, the reason for you not being allowed in is an organiser's decision based on what happened on the parade. Okay, what that could be misconstrued as is you are targeting the community, and then you might target people in here. And we obviously we can't have that against the community. And that's why we're employed here, and that's why we're here.
I understand.
So now we've had a conversation, and you explain your reasons and everything else. Maybe you could have had that before with the organisers potentially. So they understand you more? Think of it from my perspective.
Yeah,
All
no.
I saw was you on the parade,
I
which
get
to
that.
me then looks like someone is protesting against our community, which is not something that we're going to tolerate. However, we've now had a conversation and you explained to me what your reasons are for.
Yeah.
And again, everyone's allowed to have their reasons. You're allowed to protest. You're allowed to stand up for what you think is wrong.
At Pride, as a gay man, right?
In the right way.
Well, this is where, I mean, there have been a number of organizations that have raised concerns about what I'm doing and other individuals. They're relentlessly smeared, abused, harassed. Even like there's an organization called LGBT Alliance. They've been campaigning about this, and I support them in that. They're being denied stands everywhere. So we know that, you know, we're not going to be welcome. We know that. So that's why we kind of I resorted today to what I did today. But afterwards, I mean, look, I've got a parade wristband because somebody gave it to me. Because I had a nice, calm conversation. I much prefer having these kind of calm conversations. But in a way, desperate times calls for desperate measures. I was very clear not to shout expletives or to be rude to anyone. But obviously, if there's a parade, you have to raise your voice. I listen to the police. As soon as they said, okay, you know, step away or whatever, then I do that. Because I don't want to be like one of those idiots who throw stuff over people or hounds them down the street. But what I've noted, like, are you an LGBTQIA?
I'm a gay man, yes.
Right, okay. So then, just from a personal perspective, have you come across the whole hoo-ha about puberty blockers and them being banned and how that could potentially affect, you know, how most of these kids are most likely just to grow up gay or lesbian if they leave them alone?
In fairness, it's not something I know much about, to be honest with you.
Right.
And that's just me.
Yeah.
But obviously, I'll refrain from giving an opinion because I'm in a working capacity right now.
I appreciate that.
I have to, you know, remain.
And I'm not here to try to catch you out, right?
My own opinions. We all do. We're all entitled to our own opinions. I think, again, my personal opinion is what you're doing isn't necessarily wrong. You're trying to raise a voice for something you believe is wrong. But I think there's a better way of doing it. That's just, in my opinion, there's a better way of doing it.
Yeah.
Rather
than a guerrilla antic sort of thing.
If that's how you want to call it, all right?
I didn't come here to do that. I just came. I did have my sign on me, but just to hold it up. But then in the moment, I thought, oh fuck it, let's just get out in front because this isn't it. It's the message that gets suppressed all the time, and
is it not a message maybe to send to medical professionals?
Well,
not instead of your career, but more towards medical professionals because it is a medical thing.
There are many different sides to this, right? So
I'm trying to think of a solution for everyone here that is ultimately a win for everybody.
I appreciate that. So, have you heard of the CAS review?
No, I haven't.
Right. So this was a big piece of research. It took 4 years, and it's something called a systemic evidence review. So that means that you've got a whole team of researchers. They look at all the research that's already available, and then they did lots of focus groups with, you know, people from my side of the aisle and the others. And so that's the biggest piece of research into pediatric, what they call or gender transition, ever undertaken. And that's what on the back of my sign it said, thank you Cass, because Hillary Cass, she did that. And one thing that became very clear from that is there is no evidence for putting children on this medication that it's beneficial. We do know that there are too many unknowns to know that it's safe. And it was acknowledged that, because this has been common knowledge, most of these kids that have these issues, and I had these issues as a kid, if I was 12 now, I'd be knocking on the gender clinic's door saying, give me those blockers. So it's not like I come at this like, oh, this is just evil. Ah! I can see why somebody would want to reach out for that. And someone else in my family as well. Because we were like my twin sister, because she was the boy, I was the girl. But we had a chance to grow up, we had a chance to grow through puberty. She's a straight woman, I grew into myself as a gay man. We had that chance. Whereas what we know now is when you put kids on the blockers, if they then go on to cross-sex hormones, it sterilizes them, and it also stops the brain development. So just during your teenage years, when your brain needs to develop, when you're teenagers, you start to rebel because that's natural. That's what your brain does. You need to kick against things that you know. You need to find your own way. Putting kids on puberty blockers actually stops that development of that part of the brain. So, these are the medical experts that have suggested it actually locks them into their dysphoria. It's a very controversial area, and as a gay man, I take it very serious, and I do see it not in all cases, but there is an aspect of medical gay conversion for those who would grow up to be gay, right? And one of the leading hormone specialists is a German guy called Achim Wusthof. I hope the doctor doesn't mind me calling him Guy. And he worked with Kim Petras, you know, the now a Grammy Award-winning singer. So, who was the youngest person to ever had genital surgery in Germany at 16, which I think is kind of young, right? Plus, he'd been on the blockers, so his genitals had never developed. It never developed, like his balls never developed, his genitals never developed, he never developed the ability to produce sperm, right? So he was sterilized in the process. Now, he might say, that was right for me, I'm so happy, here's my Grammy, or whatever. But, sorry, I'm a bit long-winded.
That's fine. It's fine.
What this Achim Wusthof did, he wrote a paper in 2018 in which he acknowledged that most of these kids will grow up to be gay.
Yeah.
But now we have these drugs. And he said, this intervention with nature, those are the words he used, as in putting kids on blockers, may well prevent a homosexual development. So that's what I mean when I say we're transing away the gay. And he said, there's a chance of that, but I'm willing to take the risk. And then I read that as a gay man, looking at the history of what gay men and women have been subjected to in terms of, like Alan Turing was put on estrogen, then he killed himself. That is now called, in another context, gender-affirming care. So I'm trying to connect the dots. And when I read that paper, I'm like, they're openly admitting to it, right? We also know that some of these parents that take their kids to the gender clinic, they're homophobic parents. So they would rather have a so-called straight daughter than a gay son. And sometimes in documentaries they talk about this, not as bluntly as that.
Yeah.
There was one father who said he was embarrassed when he picked up his...
You said that parents were doing this deliberately so they don't have a gay child.
Some of them.
Okay.
I'm just saying, I can't
generalize.
generalize, right? I'm just saying it's an aspect, and it's something that was highlighted by gay clinicians themselves who worked at Tavistock JIDS, because they see the parents, they talk to them, so they can spot that. You know, a straight therapist might not, and they might think, we got it wrong with the gay so badly, we can't do that again with the trans, so they go all out affirming.
Think of it from another aspect as well, and forgive me, do you have children? I don't know.
I don't.
No. Now, I'm not a parent, but you think as a parent, if your child comes to you who is early teenage years and says they want to transition, they want to change, what's your answer going to be? Because you've got to think about, one, obviously you have your belief that you don't want to put your child on these medications, but you've also got the belief of supporting your child. So where's the ground? Where's the middle ground there? Where's your decision come from?
Right.
We can't make that decision because we're not parents, so we don't know. So we're never going to be in a position where, as parents, we've got to make that decision.
No, but that makes sense, and I'm with you part of the way, and it's an incredibly...
decision to make.
I have so much empathy for these parents and for the distress it causes them, because this affects, whether they transition as a child or as an adult, it affects everyone in the family, it affects friendships, it's huge, right? So if a child, and I'm in like a friend of mine from university days, he was in London last year and brought his son over, who's 15, who for a while thought he was a girl. So he was, he socially transitioned, right? Different name, he grew his hair out and was sort of treated as a so-called girl, right? And I thought, how interesting is that? Because my hair is down to my shoulder blades. And I thought, why did he feel he could only grow his hair out as a so-called girl, not as a boy? See, to me, the issue is with all the social gendered expectations. Like, now you're standing here, I haven't got a good camera, and he's kind of like buff and tattooed and manly. Like,
I'll take that.
That was never my path in life. You know, it doesn't come natural to me, and it doesn't work. And I've really struggled with that as a child. I was always a very sensitive child. I got bullied relentlessly.
No, I understand. I was
As
in
a
the same position in school.
Right.
Never
right.
been like this.
But maybe that's why you're like this now. It's armor. So I'm really glad that here now we can have this chat together. So a big lesson that I've learned in life is accept yourself as you are, right? No need for any interventions. You're fine as you are. And my friend's son, when he was 13, you're so much younger at 13. So he thought, okay, I feel like a girl. I'm going to try this. After 2 years, they said, no, we're going to stop this, because he still got bullied. Yeah. And then they cut his hair. And then I thought, what message are you? And I'm with a friend, so I'm like, I don't want to, say he's a bad parent, because I'm not a parent. But on the other hand, I'm like, you're reinforcing the message that boys can't have long hair. He should be able to enjoy his long hair and take pride in it and spend hours on it before it goes out the door, if that's what he likes. But he's being given the message, and like, I'm Dutch, as you can see from my shirt, and so they're from the Netherlands, and I'm like, we're supposed to do the progressive, open-minded ones, but we're just reinforcing these stupid fucking stereotypes. Now I'm swearing because it just gets on my nerves. And these kids, they're so young. So if a child was to say, I feel like a boy, because this is what my friend said, yeah, but he feels like, even though he's socially desisted now, they have put him on the blockers to give him more time to think, even though that stops the thinking. So it's contradictory. So my question, what I said to the dad, because I'm like, I want to get through to the dad without pissing him off, right? I do try to find a balance. So he said he feels like a girl, and I just said, but girl is not a feeling. And I think that's a very important message, that especially these young kids, like, look, they're so tiny, those two. I don't think they should be here. That's another issue. But when a child is distressed, we need to go really deep and find out what is the source of this distress. And one thing that the cast review that I mentioned earlier brought up is there's something within the gender clinics happening that she calls diagnostic overshadowing.
Yep.
Meaning everybody just goes, trans. They don't go, oh, could this be internalized homophobia? Oh, could this be trauma? Oh, could this be bullying? That is ignored. So, and that's why Hilary Cass said, these children have been let down. Whether you agree with trans or not, or whatever your take is, they've not been given the service that they deserve. They've not been given the therapy they deserve. And this is why in places like Finland, in Sweden, they've completely changed course to go back to therapy.
So what's your goal out of all this?
Well,
you've got to have one in mind, surely.
Well, my message rather,
okay.
And then I'll think about the goal as I'm talking about the message. My message is, accept yourself as you are, truly. Warts and all. There's no need to change anything about yourself, just as you are. And you don't need surgeries, you don't need hormones, especially ones that have such drastic, irreversible implications on your life. And I want to highlight how a part of this, I would say a big part of this, but I'm not saying that it applies in every case, a big part of this is still down to homophobia. And the more we just talk about affirm trans, we're hiding that. We're obfuscating that. And we should be able to talk about it. What is my goal? If I had a goal, it would be to get all this talk of gender identity, to get rid of it. Because that's what leads people, particularly children, up the gender garden path.
Yep.
When, to me, what happens is all they're doing is reinforcing those regressive sexist stereotypes that I've been running away from for so long. So it's really strange to be in my early 40s at the time when I had this whoa moment, and I'm like, oh my God, this is it. Embrace your sex, give gender the middle finger. And then you come across a movement that does exactly the opposite. It says, deny your sex. Like, even there was a big ruling by the Supreme Court earlier this year that said that basically sex is sex. And that's very important for you and me as gay men, because our rights as gay men are protected in the Equality Act on the basis of sex. Our homosexuality is protected on that basis. And I've been to a number of prides. If you want to go, then fine, because I've been talking for ages, but I'll wrap it up soon. So I went to London Pride, London Trans Pride, I went to Brighton Pride, I went to Manchester Pride, just to see, because I thought with a ruling like that, I know that the trans people aren't happy about it at all, but for us, it's fucking amazing. So I thought, surely at Pride, we should have a huge float that said, thank you, Supreme Court, for affirming our rights. And instead, every time I ask people, how did you feel about the Supreme Court? Ooh, awful. Ooh, terrible. And most of them have no clue what it says.
And that's fair, and you're allowed that. But what I think your message that we were just discussing a moment ago was a positive one in the sense where you said you should be yourself and love yourself. Yeah. However, you've still got to look at that impact around there are children out there that want to transition and change. Yeah. And where's the support there? I think that's also very important. Yeah. That your message to say love yourself and everything else is not a bad one if it's said in the right way. Okay. Right. But there's also got to be on the flip side of it. There are children out there that will want to try and change their sex and identity. Yeah. And where's the support for parents there? Because truly, if I was in that position, I wouldn't know what to say or do. I wouldn't.
And many parents are like that. So
those parents need some assistance and help as well.
Yes.
I think that's an important part of your message that you.
Yeah. And they approach me because I've been quite vocal about this for the last 5 years. So some people know me, and they ask me, and then I point them to support groups specifically for parents in those situations, so they can speak to other parents, because they're the ones who can support each other the best and help navigate this stuff. Because it's very different from saying, "Oh, hey, I'm gay," right? It's very different. So, and in terms of, you said they should have support, I absolutely agree. But then the question is, what is proper good support, solid, right? That really helps them.
I think very much my message to you potentially is that everything you say or do comes across in different ways to different people. Yeah. Find a way to bring your message in a positive light, and I think people will listen. But that's something you could take away from this, maybe having this interaction with me, is that you're right to stand up for something you believe in. Everyone's allowed to do that, right? You have a right to do that. But do it in a positive manner, do it in a positive light. And that's how you get people to listen. People don't listen by shouting and screaming. It doesn't work.
No.
It doesn't.
It's I'm so glad I did it.
I come to speak to you.
Yeah, no, that's fine.
I'm here in a calm, positive manner.
I so appreciate this, honestly. It's very different from, his approach. But then after that moment on the parade, I saw a priest, a female priest. I didn't ever ask her for her pronouns. I could just tell that she's a woman. That's the other thing, that now we're being told that gay men have vaginas and lesbians have penises, and that's a whole other side to it that I think is deeply homophobic, but never mind. So she had a t-shirt that says, "You'll have to go through me," in the trans colors, which is like support trans children, that kind of stuff. So I asked her, can we have a chat? And we had a chat almost as long as this one. And it was a very civil, friendly chat. I didn't go, "Oh my God, I think you're fucking insane." Because I wanted to know where she's coming from. And she was all about affirm. But at the same time, she said, "I know nothing about it, really." And that's when I go, "Oof."
And that's why I won't comment on something that I don't know a lot about. I'll comment on stuff that I'm confident in talking about, because that's what I know. But I'm happy to always learn and educate, always. And that's what we should be about as a movement as well. Pride should always be about educating as well. And again, having this conversation, have I learned something? Potentially.
Well, I was going to ask you...
Have I potentially been able to get a message to you? Potentially.
You have. What would you take away from this conversation? Either something I've said, or something about how I go about stuff, or...
Again, just, as you said, be happy with yourself. And I think that is quite an important message in that way it's put. Okay. Without putting a negative spin on it. I think in a positive light, you should always be proud of who you are.
Right, now, we're not live, by the way. I'm going to upload this maybe next week. I think some people might be dying to know what you look like. Is that okay? Right, we're going to switch this around. There we go. There he is. Well, happy Pride. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. Yeah. Ciao.
I walked back into town thinking, what a surprising conversation. That went pretty well. Then I met some people for lunch. Julie Bindel was there as well. Now, she had been in the park with her podcast producer to interview people, and they'd booted her out. This man that I'd just been speaking to had actually booted her out because he was told to do so. So Julie and I sat down so she could spill the tea. But first, here's a cute little dog.
Oh, he wants to be on camera. That's hilarious. Guess what? I'm here with the one and only Julie Bindel. Is that how you say it? Some people say Bindel.
Well, then they're wrong. It rhymes with swindle. And I'm here with the one and only wonderful Mr. Menno.
Woohoo! And we've been causing trouble today at Pride, Surrey and Pride. So tell me what you got up to today.
I came along with some colleagues. We're making a podcast series about Pride in Surrey, and a bit more generally about Pride and safeguarding and the queering and transing of Pride. And we went along to the gathering prior to the march, talked to a few people, all of whom were completely captured by gender ideology and were trotting out the most ridiculous cliches based on no knowledge whatsoever. And then we walked down to the park where the festival was being held, and we had VIP tickets, which we'd paid for.
You were a VIP?
Well, clearly not, But we gave our 20 quid per person to the organisers prior to the event, so we could go into this enclosed area, pay £6 for a can of Diet Coke, and see those that fancy themselves as VIPs who we would obviously want to interview. And Madam Mayor was there from one of the Surrey mayoral enclaves, and the MP for Guildford was there, and there were various others, including one of the organisers, Charlie, an old cohort of Stephen Ireland. Anyway, we did some interviews, and then by the time we got to the MP, oh my God, by the end of that interview, when we started asking her quite difficult questions about why this year's event had gone on despite some of the disquiet from the lesbian and gay community, and obviously because of the victims of Stephen Ireland, who was the main organiser from 2018, she got very hostile. Right. She went and told the organisers, and then we were sandwiched by 2 security people and told that we would be forcibly removed if we didn't go quietly.
I've explained the reason for you to leave. I've appealed to your better nature.
And I have said...
Please let me finish. As to why I need you to leave. I've confirmed with you that you don't want to leave. I now will take action for you to leave.
And I have...
Can you please confirm whether or not you will leave under your own accord?
My producer, Sam, was recording and then started to film.
In the capacity of as a journalist?
Yes, and they came up and said, we know who you are, looked directly at me, and we want you to leave. You're not welcome. And I said, what do you mean you know who I am? And eventually realising that they'd probably slipped up because it was clearly a personal issue, they started making out that they knew who we were, my producer and I, in that we're reporters. And I said, well, this is not a big reveal. We've been talking to people here, all of whom happily came along, were interviewed, were audio recorded, knowing that we are journalists. So anyway, obviously we told them we'd like to know why we're being thrown out. They just kept repeating that we were reporters. We kept repeating that that isn't a reason, and that there's absolutely no reason why we shouldn't be there asking questions of people that are happy to answer them. And they said, we know what you're asking about, and you've made people feel uncomfortable. And we were asking about Stephen Ireland and his cohorts, prolific child abusers, who are now convicted. So we were thrown out. And actually, they took more care and consideration in making sure they turfed the women out than they ever did trying to get Stephen Ireland out of Pride.
Well, isn't it ironic? So you came down here specifically to sort of gauge whether people were aware of the whole Stephen Ireland thing, and obviously you spoke to the politicians about it. Did you sort of want to hold them accountable about their support for the event?
Right.
Right.
But all of them that we spoke to, including clergy that we met at the beginning of the march.
Yeah, I think you spoke to the same woman that I spoke to.
Right, and obviously had not been informed at all about the lack of subsequent safeguarding, scrutiny, never mind safeguarding when whistleblowers were pointing out that Stephen Ireland was a wrong-un. But we did speak to people who seemed to just not have this scandal on their radar. It was all about be kind, we need to all come together as a community. It was all the one bad apple syndrome.
Right. And was it the mayor? No, it was the MP, wasn't it, Zoe, who kind of got a bit prickly?
She got very hostile. Because actually what they've all been told by Pride in Surrey management team is that there is a scrutiny, that there is safeguarding, that there is an independent review going forward. All of them believed that, but it isn't in progress at all, as Lisa Townsend, who's the Policing and Crime Commissioner for Surrey, has told us recently, and who tweeted about that today. There is no current investigation, independent or otherwise, into safeguarding issues and failures with Pride in Surrey.
Right. So you had a gay man who raped a 12-year-old boy, is now doing 24 years in prison, and he got away with whatever he did for 6 years. And then you have a lesbian who's ringing the alarm about it, who gets chucked out of Pride.
That's right.
And that shows where Pride is at today. And similarly, I had the police on my case, and I was not allowed into the party or the Pride event in the park, simply because I said, can we stop transing away the gay, please?
So you're there as a gay man defending your people, and I, as a feminist, am looking at prevention of further child abuse instances, crimes, atrocities. We're not welcome there. And yet on the sign on the way in, Mr. Menno, what does it say?
Everyone's welcome.
Yeah.
As long as you... And I had a long chat with one of the security people. Like, that's a private security company, so that's not the police.
That's right.
At first it was a bit antagonistic, but then we actually ended up having a real good chat. And he actually listened. I mean, that was good. It was a good conversation. And there's stuff that he'd never heard of the cast review. And like for us now, it's so normal, all these things, right? Because we look at it so often and so much. It's like, I can't even keep up with what's happening. But so many of the people here, they've got no clue. And it's like, was it you that said earlier, like when we were chatting, that that Zoe and the other politician, the council, local council people, councillor people, they would just sit around a little table on their own. They didn't actually join in with the event or go around or see the dildo-shaped soaps or whatever they were.
No, and all of the utterly vile slogans on fridge magnets and mugs, and absolutely vile. And yet, there was the word cunt was emblazoned across so many things.
That's a real thing now. That word, you see it everywhere, on fans, on mugs, on...
But it was, there were really young kids around.
Yes.
Right, really young kids.
I saw the same thing in Manchester. There were a bunch of teenagers, like I would say they were 15-year-olds, and they think it's funny to have a fan that says cunt. And I saw quite a few young children here today, like toddlers, just being dragged along by their mum.
And there were a number of, I assume, surrogacy babies with wealthy-looking gay men, and holding them up as mascots. The whole thing left a very nasty taste in a lot of people's mouths, and yet all of them are trotting out these platitudes about trans rights, be kind, and there we have 2 convicted child abusers in prison with many, many more who've got away with it, and no scrutiny, the event going on as if nothing's happened.
Right. Apparently it's only half the size it was last time.
Do you know why that is though, Mr. Menno? The MP told us that this is because trans people and gender non-conforming people, I'm paraphrasing, are too scared to come out after the Supreme Court ruling.
Right. This is something I brought up with that gay man from the security force, right? Or those people. Because I asked him at one point, like we're chatting away, and then I'm like, where do you see yourself in the LGBTQIA, NBP2+, whatever? And he's just like, I'm a gay man. And then I thought, oh, that's interesting. So I asked him about his personal perspective on these things, but he said, I can't really go into that because, I'm working now. But, God, I forgot what I wanted to say.
Well, they knew absolutely nothing about the safeguarding issues, about the hellish reign of criminality with the organisers and the chief exec and the safeguarding lead who are now in prison. But they all knew the platitudes about protect trans kids, be kind, we're all one people. Somebody was even quoting Bob Marley at me. A white Jamaican woman.
What, legalise it, but now for puberty bloggers. Right, but there was also a moment of when you spoke to a gay guy, right, outside.
Well, he was actually a straight guy.
Oh.
Which made it even more interesting in a way, because we'd been thrown out, Sam and I, and we're walking through the park to get to the exit, and all of a sudden, out of nowhere, a man appears carrying a camera very similar to yours, and recognised me and said, could he come and talk to me? Very, very friendly, and saying, I've just been having a look at the outside of this event, and he mentioned the slogan that was on a placard, everyone welcome. He said, I don't think I would be welcome there. And it turned out he's very, very critical of gender ideology. And when I asked him why, he told me all the reasons I would have listed had I been asked. Every single one. Nothing about, well, they're weirdos and a man is a man and a woman is a woman. All the issues that concerns us. And he was lovely and we got chatting. And guess what? I've now followed him on Twitter.
It's such a relief when you meet someone like that, isn't it?
He was great. And he was horrified at what had happened to us. He wasn't surprised. And he said that there's really not that much concern at all about the Stephen Island scandal in Surrey. It's just business as usual.
Right. What is your message to Pride in Surrey?
Close down.
So your podcast series, when is that going to go out?
When we finish recording, then we'll get to the editing stage. We'll have a legal read, so it'll be a few weeks yet. But we'll make sure everybody knows about it, and I'll give you first call on it.
Where will that go out? Is that on the Lesbian project?
We'll be putting it out on Apple, Spotify, my Substack, on all the usual podcast platforms.
And what's the name of the podcast?
We don't know yet. That's going to be a little surprise for us as well as you.
Provided some inspiration.
I think it might have done.
Excellent. Thank you so much.
My pleasure.
Right, here's the pub where the after party is going to be. Big flags in the window. But it's really calm. I have to say that even when you leave the high street, there's no sign of it being Pride, which is a relief. And somebody was saying earlier that this is quite a sort of like a wealthy area, so there's lots of middle-class parents with vulnerable children being transed away, because this is where the money is, which is kind of depressing. Right, that's it for today. Just walking along the river, going back home. I think it's been a productive day and had some really good conversations actually. And yes, I know, I need a haircut. I'll get it sorted soon. So thank you everyone for watching. And as ever, if you'd like to support my channel and my reporting, because that all helps with train tickets and things like that, then you can do so monthly via Patreon. On Patreon, I'm Bad Gay Super Gay. Or if you prefer, give me a one-off tip via PayPal, or on here via Super Thanks. Thank you so much for watching. Ciao! Thank you so much for watching, and thank you to my PayPal and Patreon supporters. Because of you, I can make videos like this. Special shout out to my big spenders. Help Her Open, Mama Turv and the Turventines, me Julie, the lovely Mary, Julia, Dusty, Judels, Leffy, Dorothy, Wildfire, Esther, and Martha. Thank you.